talked before the series. What's the thing they do better than anything else? Take away the three. What's the Celtics tonight? 8 threes, only like, again, 30-something attempts, if even like maybe high 20s. That's just crazy.
It's scary, yeah.
But again, so
it just seemed like the crew was just the whole time cracked under pressure. Like the whole time they just felt like they had to be doing something. And then once they do one thing, they'd be like, we shouldn't be doing this thing. We gotta do this thing actually instead.
Because Scally Moore Jr. hurt his shoulder at the end of game 2. He played last night. Did not look good. After the game, pretty sure I saw a quote that he said he was at like 20 or 30%. Which is like, okay, that's awful. Like,
that's not a good number.
No, not good at all.
Screws loose, they done strip the bolts on them. Should've never sent them to pick up the work for me. Sprayed the park and had my shit inside the car. Marcus Smart boy was shooting with a 36 on him. Said if he wasn't in the rush, they was all goners.
All right. Greetings, Chudlings. Welcome to another episode of Chuddy's Corner. It is Friday, April 25th. And the Celtics lose Game 3 in Orlando, 95-93. Really a kind of just bizarre, wacky, crazy game all on a whole bunch of different levels. We're going to kind of get into a lot of that. Some officiating things. The Magic are still just kind of playing like this just violent game of basketball. Disgusting form of basketball in some cases. We're gonna get into all the action. Tatum back in the lineup too. Chuddy, I'll bring you in first. How are you feeling about the loss, where we're at? Change anything how you feel about the series? Or
No, I wouldn't say it changes anything about how I think about the series. I'd say a tough loss, frustrating loss for a lot of reasons, but ultimately not any reason to panic or anything like that. I think we'll bounce back, still win this one in 5, but definitely let one slip away, winnable game, and to lose games like that in the playoffs is always super frustrating, annoying, nothing really more though.
Yeah. Frustrating is pretty good. It was a weird game. We were down 4 after the first. Ended the second quarter on kind of this like amazing run there. We're up by 10. Looked almost ready to slam the door shut on the Magic, and then they come out in the third quarter and put the absolute clamps on us defensively. I think we had 11 points in the third quarter, something like that. Not good. Not really a strategy for winning, but shout out to the Magic. They put the clamps on us. They were scoring a lot too. They had a 31-point first quarter. Kind of like the Magic were doing all the stuff that they needed to do. And this is another game we talked about the refs just like when they slow the game down like that, when there's so many whistles, it does, I think, benefit the Magic. I think they despite getting a lot of calls against them, I think that just helps them when the game is just slowed down and choppy and gross and just brutal to watch, which this game felt in a few different points. But yeah, not like I said, not really worried. I think we were all kind of thought Celtics in 4 or 5, so I'm definitely thinking going to be Celtics in 5 now. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. You talk about being frustrated. Like, let's start there. Like, what do you think would be like the most frustrating thing for you in this game? I kind of wonder where Porzingis has been at. He had a really tough game. Was just getting bullied. Even defensively, I didn't really think a lot of times, even on offense, he hasn't had a big offensive game yet, I think, this series. But, even defensively, he's usually been there. Today, it just seemed like maybe one of his like worst games, at least in the playoffs for the Celtics. But let's start with Porzingis, I guess, because that's not where my peak frustration is. But I think if we're going to want to talk like basketball, he was kind of a no-show tonight.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we can start with Porzingis. Definitely just another brutal game, and looked more like Game 1 than Game 2. We talked about in Game 1, just looked, didn't have the physicality or intensity for the moment. And again, that was kind of the case tonight, just disappearing a lot.
To be fair, I did think he started the game with the physicality and intensity. I think I might have even sent a tweet that was like in the first few minutes, it felt like he was kind of matching a little bit of that.
Well, yeah.
But I'm sorry. Go
sure.
ahead.
Maybe in a burst to start the game, but I mean, overall, just not nearly enough there, just not nearly involved enough in the game. It's crazy. I mean, to only shoot 10 shots on a night like tonight, 0 for 3 from the three-point line, still hasn't hit a 3 in these playoffs, which is just crazy. That was absolutely humming down the stretch of the season. That's been really tough to see, but again, the threes come and go. Those are almost a bonus, but for him to not be getting those easy baskets is what's killing us, where, again, this is a series where they're trying so hard to take away the threes. They're basically willing to do anything to take away the threes. This is like where we need Porzingis, the Jays obviously too, but I mean, they came through for the most part, and Porzingis to just take advantage of mismatches, and he was just nowhere to be found. So Yeah, I mean, he came out in the postgame, said I played like shit. I'm sure he will bounce back, but it's just frustrating that it's been like in every other type of series for him so far, with basically 2 bad games. One tonight, really bad game. And I mean, he was brutal down the stretch. They took him out for a long time when we made that comeback. He wasn't in. They brought him back in, and then put Jaylen back in for him again to close. Without playing over him, like very much warranted. I thought we were even playing better with Luke in the game. Was our best stretch of the entire night to end that second quarter. That run you mentioned was with Fournette on the floor. He brought us great energy. So yeah, I mean, it hurts on a night when there's no Jrue Holiday. It's like Porzingis really needed something out of him on offense. Didn't get a big Derek White night either. So that kind of amplified it. But again, when they're playing the style that you're playing, you need your one big guy who's supposed to be the answer to kind of the cheat code for any weird defense when they're trying to muck it up. That's your advantage. Okay, we have this 7-2 guy. We can just go run him to his spot and get easy offense all night. And that just really hasn't been there at all, except for a few stretches in game 2 of this series. And tonight was nowhere to be found when they needed him. So disappointing, disheartening. Again, I expect them to bounce back next game, but got to clean this up. If we're gonna go later runs, he can't be this inconsistent.
Yeah. I think, and again, I don't really want to sound like I'm piling on Porzingis, but it just hasn't really been that great for him. Obviously, last game was sick, smashed the head open, still like had, pretty good game overall there. But, I have faith that he'll turn it around, but you're right. It is a game where just matchup wise, he should really be feasting. A lot of those times he'd be getting the ball down low with like a point guard on him, and almost would be like, I don't know if he's rushing or just too, like not going. It just, I don't know. It didn't look right, but I'm sure he'll get it figured out. But probably just the one thing that I think really I noticed was like kind of missing from this game, because there were so many points in this game where we just needed that one kind of play, that one shot, the one, that kind of, at least in the fourth quarter too, we kept getting stops, but then the other end we would kind of fuck it up. And that's kind of where you mentioned Derek White too, with those guys kind of making their shots. No Jrue Holiday tonight too. That's worth mentioning too.
For sure.
Obviously that makes an impact on the defensive end for us. And he's a guy too that can hit some big threes in some pretty big moments. So
definitely.
Yeah.
But also with Porzingis, I mean, we talked about his offense and it was brutal in that one. It was like almost a layup in crunch time. He like airballed it. He didn't even hit the rim from like point blank, and he like was pissed off. He like slammed his fist in the air. I don't know if he's mad at himself or the ref, but it was just like, what the fuck are you doing? It was almost like a 4-foot little like turnaround hook shot that he hits automatically. He's almost dropping the ball in the hoop, and it just wasn't even like, it was like off by like 3 feet. So again, I don't know if he's just getting hacked. They're definitely being extremely physical with him, and they're not going to call it every time, and he's getting fouled. But again, you got to play through that. We commended him last game for getting 12 free throw attempts or whatever tonight. What did he go to the line twice tonight? I think he was 0 for 2 or something. That might be wrong. But either way, he was not feasting at the foul line like he was last game. So I think that's a good sign of how unaggressive he was being. But I also want to point out that as much as he was hurting us on offense, it was on defense too. At the end of the game, he's the guy they were targeting. And that's why I think we eventually took him out of the game, because they were going at him every play. You saw Franz Wagner, who finally had a really good game for the Magic, another part of the reason that they won. He was getting the switch, getting Porzingis isolated. He was going right by him and just beating him with that first step, going high off the glass for the layup. I think those were the last 3 baskets they scored were all Wagner going right at Porzingis and getting past him and laying it in. So, and that's even worse, and you're just not used to that. Usually he's tall enough that, especially Franz, who had a decent night, but it's like you don't have to be that far out of him or worried about the shot. There's no pump fake. Like, he wants to put it on the floor. He wants to get to the basket, and to let him do that 3 times in a row, a guy who's not even known for his quickness. Obviously, he's faster than Porzingis, but he should be getting his hands on that. So maybe he's tired, not having his full lift. Because again, like you said, in the first few minutes of the game, I think he's getting to that. So to not see him get to there, I think ultimately it's more of a question later. If there's a game like this, assuming everyone is healthy, you're probably closing with White, Holiday, the Jays, and Horford.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting on the stretch. Again, we all know he can play better, and he probably will. And it's good that he's kind of acknowledging that he's having a bit of an issue. I think that's one thing that is definitely commendable to him. I think he does sort of keep it honest and kind of keep it real with himself and stuff like that. So he did have 3 free throws tonight, 1 for 3 from the free throw line.
So he did miss him.
So 7 points, 6 rebounds for him. He was a -16. I think that's the worst in the team tonight.
Brutal.
So it's just a tough game, and and hopefully it leads to a nice kind of bounce back game. But the threes is weird too, because that was so automatic, such an automatic shot for him. But let's get off. I feel
Yeah.
Do you have anything? I feel like we've just been ripping on Porzingis for the first like 8 minutes.
I wasn't going to start there until you did. I mean, I think
I know. I don't really know. I just was sort of like
if you're going
to
if you're gonna pick on a player, if you're gonna pick on a player like for the loss, I think he's the main guy to go to. But I think this was much more about the team, the way they played, and especially like you said in that third quarter. We talked about last game when I said, did anything like surprise me or change the way I viewed the series? And I said no. Last game we talked about basically what the Magic have to do is what they've been doing, and we looked up and we said they haven't even scored 100 points yet. It's like, can they beat us holding us under 100 points? It's a tall task. They did it tonight again, thanks to I think us playing into their hands, where we just stopped, slowed the game down, and got into those long possessions where it was like, I'd love to see a stat of our offensive efficiency when we shoot like before 12 seconds on the shot clock and after. Because it felt like every time we slowed it down, let them set up their defense and had to work in the half court, they were playing great. They were keeping up that super physical defense. You mentioned they kept that up. Like, yeah, don't expect that to change. That's their whole game plan. That's all they've got. It's working again, and you know, when even like you said, even when they are getting a lot of calls against them, like it doesn't necessarily hurt them because it's stopping us, it's slowing the game down. It's all good for them, slowing down the pace. Because again, if they win a game, it's going to look like this. It's going to be 95-93, something like that. You say, how the hell are the Celtics scoring that? Well, we talked before the series. What's the thing they do better than anything else? Take away the three. What the Celtics have tonight? 8 threes, only like again 30-something attempts, if even like maybe high 20s. That's just crazy.
It's scary,
But again, so if you're going to play like that, you got to hurry, you got to run it up, you got to attack, and that just wasn't there for too much of the game. It was there in spurts, and I think at halftime, looked like a different team in the third, like took their foot off the gas a little bit, up 10, up 2-0 in the series, maybe thought with that burst, like, all right, we just put them away. Obviously not the case, and just,
credit to their coach, too, during that. I mean, it's not obviously going to call a timeout at some point during that second quarter run, but they were sort of saying, like, he was basically telling them, like, you guys need to slow the fuck down. Like, why are you guys trying to do this quick up and gun? Like, they were, because the Magic during that run were sort of shooting the ball early in the shot clock. Like, they were going quickly and everything like that. It was like they got pulled in our game, and their coach recognized it and kind of made sure that, you know, in that third quarter, we were the ones, like you said, getting pulled into their game. And, you know, we can win. We've won 2 of the games playing that way. But
and we could have won tonight easily.
Yeah, we had a chance to win.
Yeah.
We're going to get into the end of that game because I think the refs get a little bit of the frustration pie tonight for sure. Kind of a fucking gong show referee-wise. Sure. At least in the final minute there. But, I think, you know, it's a good point that you make. It just, if we're going to play their style, it scares me. Whenever the game's playing slow like that, even like the first quarter, I'm like, this is just like exactly the style they play. And they have kind of that ultimate like final card where you said, where it's like, if we do decide to call every foul, that's almost worse. Like I'd almost rather them not call all the fouls and just us have to adjust our style of play to the physicality. You mentioned the threes. We only shot 27 threes tonight.
Exactly.
9 for 27. The Magic were 8 for 32. I can't even remember the last time we had someone shot more for three-pointers than us. It's fucking crazy. Especially a team with the Magic who shoots barely any anyway. They suck at three-pointers anyway.
It's not like they had a lot. They had single digits too. Like, that's just the game. In general, crazy stat they said on the broadcast.
It's like a time capsule game.
They haven't played in a game this season where either team attempted 20 or made 23s or more, which is nuts. Because it seemed like the Celtics did that every other game and didn't have one all season. It's wild, but it shows in the way they play. And again, beyond that, not only is it the way they want to play, it's the only way they can win. They can only win this one style, and we're letting them do it. That's what's frustrating, and it's almost more frustrating when you see that comeback. In the fourth quarter, we're 6 minutes left. We're down 9. I never doubted that we were going to come back. Sure enough. Crank it up, a few possessions, we go fast 3 times in a row, get a good look. We get a Horford 3 off a kick out when Tatum drives. We get a Jaylen and 1 when we kick it up ahead to him early. And the last one, I think we got another Tatum and 1 too. So like a 9-0 run in 2 seconds as soon as we start doing that. But for so much of the game, just kind of almost like falling asleep at the wheel. And it's frustrating to watch in real time, and it's adding up, and you're going these long stretches, and suddenly you start to do the math, and you're like, holy shit, we're going to score 95 fucking points and hopefully like win at the end because we've mucked this thing up so bad. And it sucks. It sucks when you have 59 points at halftime too. Again, it seemed like we were kind of solving it, and then to just completely go away from basically everything that was working on offense. Just tough to watch. Just really tough to watch in that third quarter, especially. So painful stuff. Credit to the Magic. Played really well. And again, Paolo was good. Franz as well was really good tonight. So they got 2 of their guys going in the Celtics. Tatum, good night. Wrist looks fine. Obviously, good to see. Probably the most important takeaway overall.
Tatum looks very good.
But beyond that, I mean, didn't get a Pritchard night, didn't get a Hauser night. Obviously, we already said didn't get a Porzingis night, didn't have Holiday. Didn't have White. White made a few plays at the end when we were trying to come back, just like frantic layups almost to boost his final stats, but did not have a big night at all. What do you only make 1 or 2 threes? If even that wasn't there, that was a big part of it too. So Magic are doing a good job. Celtics not doing a good enough job. Again, I expect us to bounce back, play better. Offensive rebounds and turnovers, got to mention those too. We cleaned that up. We mentioned when they were hanging around, it was on the offensive glass. Again, tonight got dominated rebounding-wise. It was really showing up, and that was really, you could see Al getting super frustrated. Like, he's the only guy down there boxing out. The Magic were crashing 3 or 4 guys on the offensive glass, and the Celtics, when we were getting stops, weren't trying to get out and run. Scal kept mentioning that on the broadcast, and it was just so frustrating to watch, where it's like, they're sending their whole team to offensive rebound. We're not making them pay for it all. They're either getting it half the time or we're just slowing it down anyway. Don't know what's up with that. That's obviously a major source of frustration. And then 21 turnovers. That's just...
Everyone keeps saying 21, but I keep on saying 19. Either way, it's impulsive, but I haven't seen a full number. Yeah.
Way too high.
Yeah, 19, anywhere between 19 and 21 turnovers. Only 15 assists. I agree with you, too, that you could tell the Magic were completely trying to commit to the rebounding. We dominated them in rebounding in game 2, and that was like a big concern. And they made just a big effort, 42-39. They were close. There was close total rebounds, but the offensive rebounds, like you mentioned, 15-8 advantage for the Magic. So, and a lot of those were, I feel like earlier on in the game, the Magic were just getting so many like tip back points, just like. And that's the stuff, too, where, again, they didn't score a ton of points, but they can't score. You can't make it that easy for them. Like, just these little tip backs. Ugh, terrible stuff. Do you want to – I mean, it seemed like you were sort of, like, not agreeing about the refs kind of being a fucking gong show in this game. At least in that final, like, 30 seconds. I mean, Derek White hits it through with about 28 seconds left. They initially call an 8-second violation, which I guess it can't be because Tatum touched it or something like that, but then wouldn't it be a backcourt? But then nobody really knows. Then at first, they don't even add time to the shot clock at first. The Celtics have to be like, yo, what are you guys doing? The shot clock isn't off now. They got the ball with 28 seconds left. And then the number they put on the shot clock is 14. It made no sense. And then later on in the game, the Magic missed the shot. The Celtics get a rebound. 0.7 seconds left, call a timeout. The clock goes to 0.3 because there's like the split second where they blow the whistle and they stop the clock. And after like going to the table to review a billion different things throughout the whole entire game, that one ref had so much sweat in his eyes the whole game. I was like, this guy, what's his deal? Like he seems guilty to me. Got that much sweat on your eyes? You're guilty looking. I'm sorry. And they just don't review it. He's just like, no, we can't review it unless the refs think that they made a mistake at doing it. It's like, so are you just say you made a mistake then? Like, what do you like? Oh yeah, maybe we did make a mistake. It was like we're all trying to figure out who could like do this, but unless we think we made a mistake, we can't review it. We think we made a mistake, but we can't review it to find out if we made a mistake. Doesn't make any sense to me. None of it. So fucking gong show. Again, not the reason we lost or anything like that, but just that crew seemed like they were just cracking under pressure. How is that a playoff crew?
Yeah, I mean, tough night of officiating. It goes both ways. Really, a lot of bad calls. I don't know. It's frustrating to be in that situation. The clock was a mess, but again, we're just like splitting hairs, arguing about 0.10 of a second. It made a big deal. Yeah, sure, but it's just kind of already frustrating to be in that situation. At best, you have the ball down by 2 with 0.8 seconds left. Obviously, that's better. But I mean, yeah, it just sucks, I guess. Honestly, the refs, to me, it was more some of the weirder calls they were making earlier in the game, calling Tatum for a carry and a travel they hit him with on 2 separate occasions, which I thought was just very odd. I don't really get, like, the lack of free throws, again, that these guys are getting. We talked about that the Magic, obviously, are basically just playing that game of, like, we dare you to make a call. You're not going to do it every time. You saw even in the fourth quarter. It seemed like they had 4 fouls with, like, 10:41 left. I swear, they just called fouls right away. And then it was like the refs noticed, like, oh, shit, that's already 4 fouls. They're in the bonus. Like, we can't just keep calling a fucking foul and have free throws for 10 minutes. And it seemed like the calls stopped. And it's like, again, we talked last game, just be consistent. It would just be so much better if you're consistent. Call everything or call nothing. Don't just guess and be like, well, this time it's a foul. Oh, does anything happen? Well, that time it's not a foul. And, like, the carry is just something that pisses me off. It's like, all right, so you're going to tell me that was a carry? What Tatum did on that play, but that was the only time all game anyone did that? Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, that's just so stupid.
Yeah.
Again, same thing. Now you're just going to start calling carry, so okay, then there should have been 55 carries called tonight. Like, that's
Yeah,
definitely
exactly.
what you're deciding to call. So, to me, that's what you're deciding to call. So, to me, it's that.
It just seemed like the crew was just the whole time cracked under
bad.
pressure. Like the whole time they just felt like they had to be doing something. And then once they do one thing, they'd be like, we shouldn't be doing this thing. We got to do this thing actually instead. Because Scally even said that on the broadcast. They got those like 3 quick fouls. And then Jaylen, he had that like crazy finish under the basket, and they didn't call a foul on that. And Scal was, I think he finished it. Maybe he didn't finish it. Maybe, but either way,
he did.
And Scal was like, I bet you they didn't call that because they just already gave them 3. It's like, whoa, who the fuck cares? Exactly. What does that have to do with the guy just trying to murder Jaylen Brown out of the fucking basket? You just don't call it because they were trying to murder another guy 10 seconds ago?
Right. And that's what it seems like they're doing, which, and it's frustrating, and it's like they're just letting them do it, so it's not going to stop. And I think that everyone will focus on the clock mess in the last minute. But it was, like you said, it was just a sloppy mess the whole game, and it led to the refs, like, losing control, everyone being pissed at them on both sides, and then it seemed like no matter what they did, it was like they were making nobody happy. So it was like all these calls were a mess. Because the Magic coach was fucking flipping out, too. Like, that was the most I've ever seen Mosley getting mad. You see Horford getting pissed, Tatum's getting pissed, everyone's pissed. It's like, what a mess. The refs in the end, too, the clock is the weird thing, because they called, so when you talked about, like, the 8-second call, he was over half court. So it can't be an 8-second. He'd already gotten the ball over, so the 8-second is over. Then Tatum tipped it into the backcourt, so it also shouldn't be a backcourt. So it was just, he just blew his whistle because he figured it had to be something, and then he's like, they talked about it, he's like, yeah, it was actually nothing. Then, like you said, they lost 0.3 seconds or whatever just when they reset the shot clock, which I don't know how you can't look and notice, like, there was exactly this amount of time. The fact that on the Celtics broadcast, they could see it in 2 seconds. So that's just annoying. Again, I think if anything about the end of the game, the bigger question is, do you think it was the right call not to foul? Even if you get the difference. Because, like, at the end of the day, the reason they got fucked was because it was just a shitty, like, he shot it at the very end, it hit the back rim, bounced in the air for 3 seconds, and 3 more. So it's basically like, we had 28.1 seconds to work with, 27 and a half seconds ticked off the clock. Obviously, that was kind of unlucky, but part of me, especially when it wasn't Paolo with the ball, it felt like anyone who went to the line was like making 1 of 2 at best. So it's like KCP, Franz, Wendell. If they get the ball, maybe just hack them. Then at least you're down 3, maybe 4. You still have 20 seconds to work with. Play the free throw game against this team. Like, I kind of don't hate our odds, so don't want to pass. And again, it was kind of just bad luck there. Obviously, with the clock thing making it even worse luck. But I think that's interesting.
And that rebound just went so long. I mean, but that is like, I don't hate your point of just playing, even if you just did that, the foul and thing that one more time, and then after that, maybe you let it, I don't know.
What's the best case scenario, even if there is 28.1? You figure they shoot at the end, even if it's a perfect rebound, it's going to take an extra second and 2. So it's like you have at best 3 seconds left to get a play. Yeah. You can score there, but it's like, I don't know if you do the math out.
Yes.
I don't know if
the Magic make that shot, too. You're not even factoring if they make the shot, then the game's just over.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, I don't know. I thought it would maybe play the time game there, make them go earn it at the line, this young Magic team. Like, I feel like if you go back and forth a couple times with free throws, they're going to miss one.
Yeah, no, that's good. I didn't really think about that in the time. I was just so fucking furious with the refs. David Guthrie, that was the ref with like like underneath his eyes was just like sweating.
And Courtney Kirk.
I don't know if that's Orlando or what.
Probably a little both. But I also think like you could tell him and it was that ref and Courtney Kirkland who multiple times it felt like after the play were just arguing with each other, and it was like, all right. But it's like the third time these 2 refs are going and having a discussion after one of them makes a call. It's like, that's probably not a good thing.
Yeah, what are we doing there?
Yeah, so...
Yeah, I'm reading he's got a little... They have like a little page for each one of the refs here.
Oh, great.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Most want to visit Hawaii. Way too hot for you, dude. I already seen that. And bucket list, play golf at Augusta National and Cypress Point. That's 2 things. You can't have like, what? Bucket list, like, what's the one thing you'd like to do? Well, I'd like to do these 2 things.
That's this whole list.
What's a fungo? Hidden talent, hitting fungos. All right, I don't know. Keep going.
Like pop flies in batting practice in baseball. Fungo bat.
Really?
The fungo bat, yeah. You hit fly balls to the outfield for practice.
It says that's his hidden talent.
That's kind of sick.
Yeah, fuck. He just win us over.
Shouldn't have read that one.
God damn
awesome
it.
One.
All right, hold on. Oh, my God. Favorite movie, Shawshank Redemption. Wait, is he the man?
Tough night for the guy.
Favorite meal is steak? Steak and potatoes?
That's funny. But also, I will say, too, where we're kind of ripping on him, I feel like it's got to be somebody else's job over there to notice the clock thing. Like, someone
I mean, that is true.
Someone other than the guy repping the actual game should be able to see, like, all right, there's 28.1, now there's X amount left. The difference has to be 4.1, and it's just like, it shouldn't be those three refs in the moment doing that. Like, so
yeah,
I don't know who's to blame. We'll talk around the NBA, but there's extremely shoddy clockwork in last night's Knicks Pistons game too, where it seemed like maybe some home cooking. So maybe it's the guys on the side the second night in a row. Sketchy, but again, far from the reason we lost. And it's just the way the Magic are playing is leading to these kind of weirdly ref games, and the chaos is kind of playing to their advantage. So we were able to win games 1 and 2 kind of in the mud, and tonight really just let go of the rope for one quarter, still held them to 95 points. So even on a rough night, could have easily won this game, just make a few more shots, 10, 12 threes, and we're probably talking about an 8 to 10 point win. So again,
well, yeah, I always hate that logic. It's like, yeah,
no, but I'm just saying, even with everything kind of working out for the Magic, like, very winnable game that we lost.
Yeah, if we made one more 3-pointer, we win the game.
Well, yeah, exactly. But again, I mean, it probably isn't even like a close game down the stretch, whereas we just everything that basically every box they need to hit to win a game, they want, and it's the only way they can do it. And it's like we have to commit to at least, okay, we're either not going to turn it over, okay, or we're not going to give you offensive rebounds, or we're not going to slow down for you, or we're going to work to get more threes up. Like, it's twofold. Credit to them for what they're doing, but we're also just allowing them to do it way too much. And impressive defense. I mean, in that third quarter, again, as much as I was pissed at us, really good defense. Impressive how they're guarding just straight up on these switches almost every time. Don't really have a lot of guys to hunt that we can use as the seal. And again, I think that was
Cole Anthony early on was
but he's not in the game a lot.
That was funny,
and that's why he didn't
no,
play
it wasn't, and that's why. But
yeah, it's tough, and it is. You see it. They're the second best defense in the league to the Thunder, and they talked. The only, I think, quarter we've had all season as bad was that third quarter in OKC. So
honestly, watching that third quarter tonight made me kind of gave me vibes of that third quarter where it was just like, holy shit, when was the last time you really saw our offense just get completely fucking shut down like this? It's like kind of scary just to know that there's like more than just OKC out there that can do that to us. It's fucking scary.
It is.
It's like
impressive.
It's like seeing like your dad get beat up or something. Like, what the hell? It's like the strongest guy I know. What the hell? How do you get beat? Like Celtics are getting beaten up. What the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. There's I don't know if I have anything else specifically. I mean, on this game, just the turnovers. Mentioned those already though. Tatum did look good. We kind of glossed over it a little bit. He had like 8. He ran like an 8-0 run himself at one point in that second quarter run. So that was pretty good shit.
Wrist looked just fine on that jump shot.
Why do you think?
As good as it has.
Why didn't Joe use that timeout to get Jaylen in? Was it because he wanted to save it to advance the ball later or something like that? I thought that was kind of weird. Jaylen was just at the score table and they're like, "Wow, we could really use Jaylen." It's just how could we get him in?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough there with 2 timeouts. You want them both, and he ended up needing them both. One for the challenge, which was a brutal challenge. Obviously, didn't work out well at all for the Celtics, but needed one to have the
both challenges by both teams tonight.
Yes,
fucking backfired
they
for
were
each
both
of the teams
very bad.
tremendously.
That's true. But that needed the challenge for the last play of the game too to even have it on the side out with 0.3. So did need him, and again, it's just I think speaks to the inconsistency of the game and the refs where. It was kind of just bad luck. It was like 3 minutes, 12 seconds running clock where we couldn't get a sub the entire game. It was the longest game I've ever seen in my life. There's a whistle every 10 seconds. Now suddenly when we need a whistle, we can't get one for like 8 possessions in a row back and forth. Like this hasn't been an open back and forth game with no whistles all game. Now we need us just to get our guy back in there. You're not giving us a whistle until it was too late. And yeah, that's when that stretch where I talked about KP got burnt for those 2 layups, took him out with Brown. Maybe Brown's in there. It's a different story. But again, Brown's out there in the first place because he's got 5 fouls and picked up that 5th one on a play that swung the game. It looked like it was going to be an and one. I think it was tied at the time. He went hard in the lane. They said he pushed on with his elbow. It looked like a guy was in the circle. I don't know if that was worth challenging. It would have been an and one instead it was Jalen's 5th. So pretty big call with like 4 minutes left. Again, in hindsight, when our challenge worked out so poorly, easy to say basically anything would have been a better use of the challenge, but obviously don't know that in real time. I don't know if we would have won it anyway. Didn't really see a good replay, but that was a huge play that kind of swung that. So yeah, again, I think you can say Joe could have used the timeout, but I think you could also say like kind of like that last play rebound, just bad luck, or what are the chances the game goes 3 minutes without
Right. Well, I hadn't even thought about that point that you just made, where it's just like, by the logic of the game, there should have been like 8 opportunities. The refs couldn't keep the fucking whistle out of their mouth. So, all right. Yeah, you got anything else just on the game in particular? So, your next game's on Sunday. So, thinking that's a game that Celtics will have to come back on and take care of business on. But obviously, that's what I'm thinking.
Gotta mention Jaylen ripped to the ground by Cole Anthony, another flagrant foul. He said he has a sprained index finger. It seemed like he just kind of got caught up. It didn't really look dirty, but again, it's just like they're not doing anything dirty, but they're just constantly like towing the line and playing a way that's close to dirty.
And eventually something happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you're playing
where it's like, oh, we weren't being dirty.
Exactly.
Well, if you're playing like this.
When you're playing like that and you're around that stuff, bad shit's gonna happen. We've already seen it happen. Seen it almost happen. Now Jrue's hurt too, seemingly. He's just out of nowhere. Like, what the fuck? So that sucks, and the more games we have to play against these guys, the more wear and tear it's going to be, which also sucks. So I keep saying it's good experience, which I definitely believe, but to a certain point, it's like, all right, the beating on our bodies isn't going to be worth it in the long run. So again, really don't want to drop another game to them. That's just frustrating. They were also pressing early in the game, which I thought swung it with the Celtics. We were up like 19-8 or 18-9 or something. Real red hot start. They called the timeout, started pressing, and went on that giant run that opened up that lead for them. So, again, it was just the ball pressure and just uncharacteristic sloppiness. The Jays both had multiple turnovers. Again, 2 of Tatum's turnovers were a fucking carry and a travel, so you can throw those out as far as I'm concerned. That the refs just decided to call those is ridiculous. One of Jaylen was that offensive foul I just mentioned, which was also frustrating. He had 2 offensive fouls. Those suck. So that contributes to it, too. But just some uncharacteristic ones. They lost the ball. Pritchard, who's rock solid doing that kind of Nash dribble where he goes under and around the hoop, lost one in like that crucial possession as he was in there too for the last 6 minutes. He was kind of closing tonight and was like, didn't add a lot of impact. I don't think he made a 3 all night and just had that awful turnover into the basket when it was, I think, a 2-point or a 4-point game. We needed to score. That was brutal. So again, just a lot of uncharacteristic plays, frustrating to see. Hope to clean it up. Hope to be better next game. Also got to shout out Drew Carter using your/our line we talk about all the time, and he already said
burn the tape
type of quarter. There's a burn the tape type of quarter in the third.
Okay, didn't I say that as like a incorrectly, or is that like
that I was making fun of? Bury the tape, and I was like, I think it's burn the tape. But
okay, all right. Because I was wondering if he used my wrong one. Because if he used my wrong one, that tells me he's still on my line.
He's on board with the tape. Is the point?
Exactly. We're getting rid of the tape no matter what.
Although
right, cool.
I kind of think the opposite. I think they need to watch that tape because, as we mentioned, if you're going to play the Thunder eventually, those are exactly the kind of quarters you have to avoid. So actually watch the shit out of that tape and figure out how to never let it happen again. Because that's, again, the only way the Magic can beat us, and something that the team over across on the other side who looks the best is also going to do to us. So maybe don't
analyze
don't
the
burn
tape
all
quarter.
Burn
some of it.
Keep one tape.
Yeah, watch it and then burn it.
Yes, exactly.
Perfect. All right, let's give out some Chuddy Chains for tonight. Before we do that, Chuddy's Corner is sponsored by Mario's Roofing, Mario's Siding, Mario's Windows, Mario's. Just call Mario's. At Mario's, we pride ourselves on quality, safety, and value. We wouldn't do anything to your home that we wouldn't also do to our own. Call Mario's today and ask them about their spring specials. Tell them Chuddy's Corner sent you. You can get $50 off your installation. Give Mario's a call. Get the ball rolling. 781-344-2420. Or you can visit mariosroofing.com. Mario's Roofing, we won't soak you to keep you warm and dry. All right, Chuddy Chains for tonight. I know it's my turn to go first. I'm kind of like, I'm sort of not impressed by really anything tonight. If I'm going to give out a Chuddy Chain, I think I might give it out to Tatum. I think for just coming back with a wrist injury and kind of having a monster game, put the team on his back. A couple different points of the game, was just kind of doing everything. He had 13 points in the first quarter, 8 points in the second quarter. So he did a lot of scoring in the first half, 9 points in the fourth quarter. As far as a night where it didn't really seem like we saw a lot of people's bests. I think he had a lot of crazy shots. Sometimes it's just the superstar. I don't know. I don't know. I'm interested to see who you're going to pick.
I'm actually going to go with maybe our Chuddy Chain leader on the season. That's Luke Cornett. In his 19 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I thought he was awesome. He had almost half of our team's offensive rebounds. He had 3 of them. He had the box score I'm looking at says 2 steals, but I saw Dick Light tweet out a stat, some kind of record that he had 3 steals in the first quarter. So I don't know the exact stat, but it was a team high +8 in his only 19 minutes, 6.6 boards. Just working down there, giving us a presence, the kind of thing we need. And I think I wouldn't have been mad to see Joe lean into it more, especially with how poorly Porzingis was playing. Like, we kind of talked all season, especially down the stretch, as we saw it more and more. We're like, this Luke thing seems real. When he's out there, it just seems like the team plays better. We saw it, obviously, in the first half. Didn't go as well in the second half, but I thought could have maybe stuck with it. I feel like nights like tonight are exactly where you need it, and a guy like Luke can swing a game. Like I said earlier, weren't getting it from Pritchard, weren't getting it from Hauser, no Holiday, weren't getting it from White. Porzingis got to try some shit. I thought we saw some good shit from Luke, and I would have liked to see a little more of it. So, if nothing else, he's leaving here with the Chuddy Chain.
Yeah, Luke. Luke definitely kind of limited minutes, but the minutes he played were super impactful.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's the Chuddy Chain leader. The what do we call it? The Chuddy Chain, the Luke Cornett Chuddy Chain Lifetime Achievement Award or something.
Yeah,
it's his.
So,
it's his. You just have to come on the show to accept it.
Definitely, yeah.
So,
I don't think
the award is there for the accepting.
whenever he has time. Hopefully not for a while, at least for a couple months. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
maybe late
Definitely.
June. Late June, he can come to Chuddy's Corner HQ and accept his chain.
mm-hmm. Yep, we got it ready for you, Luke. All right,
love it.
Go ahead. Why don't you pay our other bills, and then we'll get into some around the NBA stuff, talk some of the games that have taken place over the last day.
No doubt. So Chuddy's Corner is brought to you by Nick Perino Real Estate. Visit nickperino.com at nickpirino.com for all of your real estate needs from a realtor that you can really trust. Nick Perino, longtime friend of both of ours on a personal level, longtime friend of the Chuddy Heads, is a Chuddy Head himself. Cares deeply invested in this show in more ways than one. And that's, the same way he is with everything, especially his real estate. He's a diehard Celtics fan. He's a diehard real estate guy. Whatever you need in the world of real estate, he will help you out. Even if it's something simple, you just want to talk to someone, have some questions, something you're not sure about, he'll pick up the call. He'll build, your trust, a nice personal relationship, walk you through anything you might not be clear about. And we'll just put you at ease in a painful process. That's what you want when you're in this process. You want someone you can count on. Nick is that guy, and that's why, of course, Nick Perino is the official realtor of Chuddy's Corner.
Yep, and if you're a Celtics fan too, it can be one of those things where it's like, explain this real estate situation to me in Celtics terms, and right, that might help you understand a little bit better. If you have a realtor that you can ask that question to, that should be your first question to any realtor. If you're a true Chuddy head, explain like this to me in Celtics terms, and if they don't have a good answer, you probably don't have the right realtor. You're probably not talking to Nick Perino. Thank you, Nick Perino. All right, let's do a little bit around the NBA. Check in on some of the series that have been going on outside of our little bubble here in Boston. So as we were recording, I think the Rockets and Warriors game was kind of ending. So the Rockets did end up winning that game 109-94. So that series is tied 1-1. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you have anything like that you want to kind of touch on. I know that's kind of like your baby, that series. So I feel like we don't need to go too much on it because by the time we hear this, they're going to be playing another game tomorrow anyway on Saturday. So, but go ahead if you have anything on that.
Huge game tomorrow. Obviously, Jimmy Butler's health, a big story. Landed hard on his pelvis, massive contusion, apparently. He's questionable. They said there's some optimism, but it's like a pain tolerance, might not play. And that's a big deal. I mean, if he doesn't play, especially, they basically need Steph to go like supernova to win, I think, against this defense. And that's going to be really hard to do. We'll see. I mean, the Rockets looked brutal in game one, bounced back in game two, were confident, stuck to their game plan, looked good. Jalen Green, massive bounce back, a huge game scoring the ball, shoot 8 threes. If they get that kind of offense, they're going to be in really good shape. Obviously going to Golden State now. Could be a different story, but I'm excited. I mean, that's a great series. Total rock fight, so physical. There's skirmishes and brouhahas and practices on every single play. You got to love it. Guys falling all over the place. It's like they're playing another sport, honestly, even compared to some of these series. Probably more physical than the Celtics Magic, and with way fewer whistles, guys going flying left and right, guys pushing each other in the middle of one bench clearing kind of thing where there's a scuffle. Tari Eason, I don't know if you saw the highlight from one side, just perfectly threw a towel right in, I think it was Podziemski's face, or Quentin Post just drilled him right in the face. Just got everything you want, you got it.
That's awesome.
It's fun, and obviously just a huge game 3. And I don't want to boil it all down to Jimmy Butler, but if they don't have him for extended time, I mean, that could be it. And, Jimmy's a tough cat, but we see him miss playoff games and games in general all the time. So certainly not going to be shocked if he does not play. And again, I wouldn't say the Warriors are drawn dead, especially at home, especially when you've got Steph Curry. But, man, the way the Rockets played defense last game, it seemed like they kind of eased into the playoffs, got comfortable, and got some confidence back. Like, okay, don't freak out. Now we're ready for the playoffs. Now we know what this is like. Just go back to playing our way, and we'll be good. And they were. So we'll see. Now it's their first road playoff game again. Could be tougher. Could be a different story in Golden State. But that's not Oracle Arena anymore. It's a wine and cheese crowd now. Might be a little bit different.
It's true.
Also, got to mention,
that is very true.
Directly related to that series, but kind of is, I guess. The Rockets were having some fun last game as they were blowing them out. Their crowd was chanting, "Fuck you, Draymond," which he talked about after the game. And I just thought a hilarious reaction that he said, "Not original. They stole it. That's Boston's thing." And I was like, "It is?" Like,
yeah.
We're the okay. I had no idea.
I think
was our thing.
We had a friend of the show, Coley Mick was tweeting out. He was like, "I find it so hard to believe that Boston is the first person to ever say fuck you, Draymond."
Yeah,
there's no way in his entire life he had never heard that before.
What? Like, that's our thing?
Yeah.
Okay. I figured
I guess I'll take it. Yeah.
The game, the away fans chanted that. I just assumed it's like a pretty normal chant. It's like
Also, shout out to Steve Kerr for just having the lamest. He's like,
oh yeah.
Sorry, the guy has kids. I don't know if that was a clip from the Celtics did or if it was after this game, but I saw someone was comparing.
He did say that again, something like that. So
someone was comparing it to the reaction because they asked Tibbs about it, saying it was happening to Brunson. It just seems like a new chant. You just say "fuck you" to the player you don't like.
Yeah.
And Tibbs was like, "Oh yeah, Jaylen loves that. It's like cheers for Jaylen." So there's levels to this, Steve Curry, you freaking dweeb.
Yes.
All right, go Rockets. All right. Sticking in the West, the Clippers absolute drubbing on the Nuggets in LA, 117-83.
Yeah.
This is a beatdown. I saw some clips of Jokic freaking out on the sidelines, getting all pissed off. The Intuit Dome lived up to the hype. The place seemed absolutely raucous.
Mm-hmm.
They had horse head hats behind everyone on the foul line to get Jokic's head. Absolutely hilarious troll. But yeah, I mean the Clippers, they took it to him. The Denver did not look good in this game. Harden had 20 points. He had 9 assists. Kawhi had 21, 11, and 6. Norm Powell, your boy, 20 points. Zubac, 19 points, 9 rebounds. Just a balanced attack. Yeah. This Clippers team is for real, man. I'm telling you. This is a scary team in the West.
Very, very scary. And you're seeing it those first 2 games we talked about were so even, and now it kind of looks like the margins are just so much slimmer for Denver. And again, this is nothing new. This is kind of what we've said all year. They just need everything to go right. And last night, everything just went wrong for them. They, much like the Celtics tonight, only hit 7 threes. The Clippers had 18. They were outscored. Bench points was 31-6. So the things with Denver, they don't shoot threes. They have no bench. Showed up in the worst possible way. Michael Porter Jr. hurt his shoulder at the end of game 2. He played last night. Did not look good. After the game, I'm pretty sure I saw a quote that he said he was at 20 or 30%. Which is okay, that's awful.
That's not a good number.
No, not good at all.
Typically, you don't play in that situation.
Yeah, so I don't know if he was saying maybe just his shoulder, but still, either way, that's not good. So I don't know if he just fucked up what he meant to say, or he's basically saying
it's not ideal.
I can barely move my arm. Either way,
they're making me play.
He did not look good, and then Russell Westbrook hurt his foot injury. 9 minutes into the game, didn't return. Like we talked about, they've been playing 6 guys. Westbrook's one of them, and MPJ is one of them. So one of them potentially now that could be down to 5, and then the other one's at 20%. So they have 4.2 players.
20 point,
It's not great. It's not great.
No.
And now their season's on the brink. They got to go win against this LA team that, like you said, is humming. What a friggin' well-oiled machine they look like, and they're just getting it from everywhere. And it's kind of perfect because the thing with Harden is always in the playoffs. It's he's going to flow in and out of the game, and it's that's just fine with this team. Just give us, 2 good streaks where you go to, pick and roll with Zubac and dominate for 5 minutes. Kawhi will take you home, and then again, Norm Powell's been slumping. If he picks it up, too, you saw the potential. I mean, to score 117 is solid. To hold Denver to 83 is really fucking solid.
Yeah.
So again, they got a real home court advantage now, which is not nothing for a team that literally never has in their existence. Maybe when they were in San Diego, they did. I don't know. But yeah, it's just crazy, and it really after that game,
Wait, what was it? What have they never done? Were you just?
They've never had a home court advantage. I mean, they were in the Lakers building forever.
Oh, okay.
They just never.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Had an advantage, like really at all. It was just a place people would go to see the other team when they didn't want to go to the Lakers. But now it's clearly flipped. It's helping them, and I think you never like overreact to one game, but this one felt more than the first two. Like, okay, maybe the series isn't as close as we thought.
Yeah, no, I don't think it is. I don't think it's going to get much better for the Nuggets. But
it's tough.
Well, it's hard to say though. I mean, again, Jokic is capable of just winning games himself, but he's also capable of having 40 points, 12 rebounds, 13 assists, and they still lose. So
they have a losing record when he scores 40 or more points. So there you go.
Big bang boom.
But also,
I'm not just making stuff up.
The other thing too with Jokic is like he's playing well, and it's funny he's playing well, but he's not playing like that well. He's playing average for him, which I think last night he had like 26, 13, and 13. But we're just kind of like decent Jokic game, and it really Zubats, they don't send doubles when Zoo is on him, and he's doing like well enough, as well as anyone can possibly do. Basically, if you can guard Jokic pretty much 1-on-1 and hold him to 26 points, 13 assists, like you'll fucking live with that every day. Especially with such a good job on the supporting cast with all the defenders you have between Derek Jones and Chris Dunn. You're making Jamal Murray work his ass off. Kawhi, when he decides to, is basically just erasing Michael Porter Jr. from even existing. It's tough, and it seems like the longer this goes on and the more Ty Lue and Jeff Van Gundy get to kind of scheme this series and play chess backwards against David Adelman, the more I think the Blue are finding the advantages that they have.
That's kind of an underrated. I mean, that Clippers team really is just like veterans. Like I don't know, just that coaching staff, those players. It's dangerous. They're dangerous. But all right, let's keep it moving here. Next game up, we have Knicks Pistons. Knicks get the 118-116 win. Pistons had some chances late. They just can't grab that moment. They just can't get it done. And credit to you. This is what you said you thought was kind of going to be the case with them, is where they're good. They got a lot of things that they do well that they can beat teams with, but eventually they're just not there yet. The moment might be a little bit too big, and I think you saw a lot of that in the end of this game last night. The Knicks aren't playing great, but they're playing well enough to beat the Pistons here, and the Pistons not taking advantage of opportunities that the Knicks were handing them. Is what it is. So Knicks get the win. They're up 2-1 in the series. They play again in Detroit, I think, tomorrow on Saturday. So what do you think? Can the Pistons? Do you think they can win Game 4 and make this interesting?
I do. Before I'll give the Pistons credit, they've been better than I thought. They have had some unfortunate, times down the stretch. Game 1 was like they kind of blew it. Game 2, they were kind of trying to come back, but it was like it's infuriating to watch. There's like they just couldn't get over the hump, and then Brunson did hit some big shots down the stretch. Cat was way more involved. He had a nice bounce back game. Tobias Harris went quiet, and again, that's kind of just the tough thing when you're counting so much on Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway Jr., Schroeder, good players, but it's just tough. It's like the margins, again, talk about being slim. Cade has to do so much. And for the Knicks, they got some contributions from other guys, but again, I like what Detroit showed me. I think they can win another game. They've held their own better maybe than I thought they would, and I think that they can kind of just settle down. Next game's obviously a big one. I think they had some home jitters for that first playoff game, a little too hyped maybe. And then again, another game where a crazy clock situation at the end. They got super bailed out because there was 0.5 seconds left. Brunson missed the free throw on purpose. Figure it, because they had no timeouts. So he's like, no matter what, the clock's going to run out. This one, it wasn't an inadvertent whistle. It was the clock operator started it too soon. So the horn sounded before they even touched the ball. So by rule, the only thing they can do there is it was imminent possession for the Pistons. So the only thing the refs could do was Pistons ball, side out of bounds, put the 0.5 seconds left. So they
0.5 seconds,
got a free timeout and made it so that the Knicks could have lost with that strategy that basically the one reason the Knicks did that was taken away from them. So again, it worked out because Jalen Duren just threw away the inbounds pass, was disgusting. but the Pistons easily could have hit the shot there.
There we go. I told you about the inexperience thing we were talking about.
And that would have been like maybe the worst way, like infinitely more brutal than what happened to the Celtics tonight, because they were on the other side of it. It was like for all intents and purposes, the game should have been over with the Pistons catching the ball, the guy being forced to throw it from his own free throw line with 0.5 seconds left was literally the only chance. That's what they would have had. And instead, they basically got a full timeout while they reviewed it, got to draw up a play from a side out of bounds situation, but they got to throw it in. Again, they botched it, but just insane. And if they did hit that, the Knicks fans would have.
It would have been so funny.
Can't even imagine.
That would have been
meltdown.
So good. Would have been great.
Yeah, close call. But no, been a really good series. Credit to the Pistons for battling harder than I would have thought. Showing that the Knicks maybe even worse than I thought. So I have definitely been proven a little bit, but I still I don't think the Pistons can win enough of these games. I do think they can win one more though. I hope it's tomorrow night. And let's bring them back, making a best of 3 series. You never know.
About that too, it's actually Sunday they play again. Sunday at 1.
All right, never mind.
So shout out to me for not having the schedule right. But also credit to me for admitting that I had it wrong. All right. Our other game from yesterday, the Thunder, 114-108. So the Thunder were down pretty big in this game. Then Ja Morant got like fucking undercut by Lou Dort, went down. Honestly, I don't know. I feel like that's the kind of one of those falls that always looks worse. Obviously, he didn't come back. He's questionable or whatever for the next game. I think they said it was a hip injury.
Yeah, he's not.
He's not playing. Yeah,
I don't think so.
But so dirty play. What do we think? Dort has had a lot of crazy kind of situations.
Yeah.
Like this.
So I don't
I'm a Dort guy.
This play itself was necessarily dirty. It looked bad. And again, I almost think it goes back to kind of what we were saying about the Magic, where it's like not necessarily dirty, but when you're playing this way so much, like you just increase the odds of something like this happening, whether it's dirty or not. I think it's more that. Like Dort is just playing like that. Things are bound to happen.
It's like no one single day makes your house a mess, but if every single one of those days combine, now suddenly you got a fucking pigsty.
Exactly. And I think that's the way Dort plays, and it's also kind of the way Ja plays. That was one thing. Remember, he wasn't going to dunk anymore because he was getting hurt. Here it is again. I mean, it sucks, and it sucks for a few reasons.
Fly in the air.
Because for one, him and the Grizzlies were playing fucking awesome, and they were up by 29 points. It was like literally the best I've seen someone play against that Thunder defense.
Yeah.
Maybe all season. Like, literally, it was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, Ja is just fucking dominating. He went out, and
they had 77 points in the first half.
That's
right?
insane.
Yeah.
That is fucking insane.
And then they scored 31 in the second half.
Exactly. And they could barely even dribble the ball past half court. Chet got it going from 3. He was amazing. The defense, Caruso especially, unbelievable. Seemed like he had about 10 deflections in that second half. Was just taking the ball from guys at the end. Unreal. 29-point comeback. So, total tale 2 halves. On the one hand, I think it's kind of encouraging if you're anyone but the Thunder looking and being like, holy shit, the Grizzlies just scored fucking almost 80 points against this defense. Like, let's watch that.
That is not, we're not burning that tape.
Yeah, like, that's something. And then on the other hand, it's just like, man, so depressing if you're the Grizzlies. Like, it's been 2-3 seasons from hell now, it almost feels like. Finally got basically one half of joy where for 24 minutes I was like, holy shit, like, this is it. This is the vision. This is amazing.
Right, there's something.
And then you see Ja go down, and they just, again, couldn't run offense even without him. He came back out on crutches to watch just the Titanic shit sink. It was just, I almost felt bad.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that happened.
And it just sucks. It would have been obviously more interesting for a ton of reasons, too, if Memphis just, like, now, obviously, the series couldn't be more over. Would have been kind of cool, made things interesting, make the Thunder sweat a little bit in round 1. And again, if it's the Clippers or still the Nuggets, either way, like, they're probably going to go at least 6 games of these battles, and the Thunder are almost certainly going to have like a week of rest with the young team with a shitload of depth. Like, as much as we're talking about how awesome the Clippers look, it's going to be a tall fucking order.
Yeah, that's true. All right, and then today we also had Bucks Pacers, Bucks 117, Pacers 101.
Yeah.
In the leads the series 2-1, so the Bucks go back again. Series and start, the home team loses, so the series this has not yet started.
Yeah.
This game was going on concurrently with the Celtics game on ESPN.
It started an hour later, but yeah. Yeah, it was
on ESPNU
and NBA TV, yeah.
Okay, and NBA. Okay, I guess NBA TV 2 makes sense, but ESPNU was. I saw the little thing in the top corner. I go, what the fuck?
Well, because it's an
Playoff game
ESPN
on
night,
ESPNU?
normally be ESPN2, but the draft is on the Deuce.
Draft, yeah.
So it was that or ESPN News,
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. But either way.
I thought ESPNU, like
I know.
University.
I know.
Oh.
I'm saying, but what are the choices? It's either ESPN News, ESPNU. Like, I don't know. Where's
Put the Celtics on ABC.
The draft was on ABC.
ESPN. Put them on ESPN2 then.
Yeah, I mean,
what do they have, like the Pat McAfee view of like the draft or something like that? They have, like,
I don't know. I really don't know, but yeah. Either way, like I watched the game.
Yeah, I guess we could talk about the game too.
And impressive stuff. I thought honestly the Bucks were kind of dead. Maybe this was just their last hurrah in a gentleman's, but they got some play. Giannis with his usual above 35 points. Gary Trent Jr. going tonight.
37?
Absolute fire. First time in franchise history, I think, that they've had two guys with 35 plus. He was shooting the lights out. They had some other good players. Doc actually made a few adjustments. Good for him. Tip of the cap to old Doc. Some better lineups, made some smart plays, and obviously, the Bucks and their role players just played a lot better at home. The Pacers had a bad game. Only scored 101 points for them. It's pretty brutal. Yeah, just an off night. So again, don't think major changes, but Dame played again. Bucks got some decent play from role players. They've still got Giannis. They got that crowd. Now, again, they're in it. One more game at home, they can make this 2-2. Like, I still think it's a tall order. And again,
2-2. Then if it's a best 2 out of 3 series, then I think the pendulum swings a little bit to them just having Giannis.
For sure.
Like, Giannis can win you a best 2 out of 3 series.
Exactly.
With this matchup, might be hard to win a 7-game series. But.
Right. But again, I think the Pacers mostly just had an off night. I don't expect them to play this poorly again, even on the road. I think they'll make some counter adjustments. I expect Carlisle to come back on Sunday, really, really well prepared for that one. So again, I think the Pacers are heading back down up 3-1. I think this was a nice little win for the Bucks to get, but probably not much more than that in the grand scheme of things.
Shout out to Kyle Kuzma, recorded a few stats. Good for him.
He's in the box score, baby.
He's in the box score. That's good to see.
Massive.
All right, and then the only other game that's going on right now while we're recording, it's about 2 minutes left in the third quarter. Timberwolves are up 80-78 on the Lakers. So again, I mean, this game will be over by the time people are listening to this game. Want to give a bold prediction of what happens here in the final quarter?
I'm certainly hoping the Timberwolves win. This has just been an awesome game. 1-1, obviously, first game in Minnesota, massive back and forth. We saw Timberwolves played great in game 1, dominated. Lakers basically flipped the script in game 2. Tonight, it's been the LeBron game. He had over 20 points in the first half. Luka, I guess, has a stomach bug. Hasn't been doing much. So, again, Lakers trying to win without him. Timberwolves crowd has been great. I'm hoping, Anthony Edwards rise up, takes this one home down the stretch. Is what I certainly want to see.
My bold prediction was going to be Anthony Edwards hits like a buzzer beater or like a lead taking shot or something like that.
I'm into it.
Spider-Man's at LeBron.
Down.
All right. Good prediction. All right. That's the show, folks. We'll be back here on Sunday after the Celtics play. What do we have? 6 o'clock tip on Sunday, I think. I think I saw something like that. 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. 7 p.m. on TNT. Celtics are playing. We'll see everyone back here then. In the meantime, make sure you subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to it on. Go to our YouTube page, too. Hit that subscribe button. Like the videos. Tell your friends to do the same. If you aren't telling your friends about Chuddy's Corner, you aren't a good friend, straight up. You are a good Chuddy head for listening, but not a good friend.
Be better.
Yeah, you can be better. We can all be better. There's a lot of opportunities to learn every second of every episode of Chuddy's Corner. But yeah, so we'll see y'all back here on Sunday. Give us a follow on Twitter, too, at Chuddy's Corner. Follow us on all the other social media platforms. We're on TikTok now. Been trying my hand in the TikTok game. Very strange app. Follow him. He's at King Chuddy. I'm at Doug _outs. We'll see you all back here on Sunday. Take care.
Peace out, Chuddy heads.